Yo guys, the Exploit Glyph was stealth nerfed. I'm not really sure when it went through, I just noticed I was playing it today. This is what it was originally. The additional bonus is what was changed. When an enemy is damaged by you, they become vulnerable for 3 seconds. Like when they're first damaged by you. And now, in-game, it is a completely different additional bonus. Dealing damage to a vulnerable enemy increases your damage by 1% for 6 seconds up to 10%. And this is really bad for like every class that can't get vulnerable baked into their kit. It's really bad for this corpse explosion build I'm running right now, where it's all shadow damage dots. Because now, for me to get that vulnerable, I kind of got to get the corpse tendrils out, and it really just kind of reduces my vulnerable damage in general. Yeah, I feel bad for all the specs. I think Rogue is probably going to be the least affected by this, but I know Necro outside of Bone Spear build is pretty screwed, I think. Because, like, Sever, like, Reap and Sever really needed that build, and that was one of my favorite builds, but now we're only going to get Sever from our 2-second vulnerable every 4 casts, so we're going to need a lot of attack speed to keep that up. We get it from Corpse Tendrils as well, but it's a cooldown spell, and the vulnerable only lasts 3 seconds. You can get it from Bone Prison up here. Just however long your Bone Prison stays up, I guess. But I don't really like running that spell personally. Yeah. I just was like searching. Whoops. Yeah, I had to figure out how to search a page, and I searched Glyph. I searched Exploit, and nothing came up. So I was looking for the Exploit Glyph, and then I searched Glyph, and you know, they said Paragon Glyphs are currently providing too much power. And then they have like all these changes, but they say nothing about the Exploit Glyph. They just nerfed Vulnerable Glyph by 66%. Which I think is only Exploit. I don't know if there's any other ones. Critical strike damage, rare nodes, magic nodes. And then they reduced the resist glyphs by 62.5%, which is interesting to me because I thought those were like really bad. I never take those, but yeah, I just wanted to show that because I hadn't seen anything on it. Like I checked YouTube, I didn't see anything. Scrolling down. Yeah, I just haven't seen anything on it, so I wanted to talk about it and let people know. Hopefully Blizzard does something to like compensate for this, because right now vulnerable damage is really important. I was just talking about the buckets and how like important these are. And so I feel like this is a really big deal for like every class. Like vulnerable damage is the last bucket. That it's still equal to all the other buckets. Like you got your main stat, percentage damage, additive damage, critical strike, but not having vulnerable is definitely huge because you're losing a whole multiplier from your damage. And it just, this nerf to Exploit Glyph is mainly just like a big nerf to speed clearing, in my opinion, because it's just the first 3 seconds. Whenever you damage something is what it was. You would get vulnerable, and that would allow you to start your like burst window before you actually get vulnerable from like another ability on them. And that would allow for builds that you wouldn't even need to run vulnerable in your kit if you're doing enough damage, but now that's gone, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. And yeah, let me know if your guys' class is like being affected by this. I know Necro is for blood and shadow and darkness builds, but Bone Necro's gonna be fine. I think rogues are gonna be fine. I'm not sure for sorcerer, barb, and druid though. I think druid will be fine because they have storm strike in most of their builds, but still, that's really annoying that you now have to start with your vulnerable application. It's gonna be a lot slower clearing for like everybody. But alright, thanks for checking this out. Peace, y'all.